It's showtime. No, it is showtime. It is showtime, a New Zealand Double IPA from the new Bristol Brewery. But what's this baby going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing Showtime. This is from the new Bristol Brewery with obviously the monkey astronaut, which is on all their sort of beers. What appealed to me was this was a New Zealand Double IPA, but it's a bit of a strange one for a double IPA because it's only 7% ABV. Now a lot of normal IPAs are 7%. They can even go 7.2 and a little bit higher. It's very rare that you get any double IPAs that are under 8%, but this is 7%. So I thought, well, as much as I'm not a massive double IPA drinker, I don't see the need of drinking something which is that strong. You can get the flavour from a normal IPA, in my opinion. But this is, it says taste, juice bomb. Brilliant, love that. And obviously the hops, Nelson Sauvin, Riwaka and Mouteka. They're probably three of my favourite hops. So I've got real big expectations of this. So let's crack it open, get it in a glass, see what it's all about. See if it's like going to taste like a double IPA. I mean, I just hope it's going to have the sort of body and the aromas and the flavours that you would expect from a sort of double, but with a little bit lower ABV. Certainly beer in a glass. I mean, to me, that looks like an IPA. It's not as thick and as gloopy as a lot of doubles. We've got two fingers. I'd say it's sort of a little bit frothy, a little bit compacted. I'd almost say, so looking at it, it's almost a little bit more frothy. So I don't think that head's going to be sticking around. And we've got a sort of very sort of yellowy orange coloured beer. See what the aroma's like. Yeah, I mean, it smells really fresh and sort of all those sort of New Zealand sort of characteristics with the melon and gooseberry, grape, lime from the Mouteka. Yeah, it smells really. There's also a sort of, which you can get a lot with New Zealand sort of hot beers, is there's a sort of almost a savoury onion sort of aroma to it as well. Okay, let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Really juicy. Lots of big punchy flavours hit you straight away. It's quite thin though, in terms of the body. Carbonation is a little bit prickly. It's not as soft as a lot of beers. And certainly when you get into double IPAs, you expect it to be a bit more softer. So I don't know whether there's much in the way of sort of, grey wheat and oats and stuff in it. Again, the text where it gives you the fine ingredients. It says barley, malt. I don't say hops. It drinks quite thin, which is quite uncharacteristic for a double IPA. The last double IPA I had, which had this sort of mouthfeel, was the North Brewing one. I can't remember its name. The one that's in Tesco's. So that was 8.5% though, and that was quite light and sort of quite refreshing, which is a strange word to describe a double IPA. But this is very similar. Yeah, lots of prickly carbonation, but the flavours are really nice and strong, and there's lots going on, but it's all about gooseberry and grape and melon and kiwi fruits and lime and lychee, guava, all of those sort of green, sort of very sort of zesty sort of fruits. Then you've got, there's quite a lot of lime on the back end. Little hints of grapefruit. There's a little bit of real sort of zesty sharpness and bitterness on the back end. But again, it doesn't drink like a double. I mean, even though it's 7%, you don't feel that 7%. Whether that's because the body is so sort of light, but it's goes down well. As I said, I'm probably a little bit disappointed with the mouthfeel of this. Could have done with a little bit more oats or more wheat or whatever in it, but it to me, it's got a very sort of light body, which is weird. When you've got all that flavour, you expect it a little bit more smoother, a little bit more creamy, but you're not getting that. You're getting a very sort of, very almost I'd almost use the word fizzy sort of mouthfeel. It's quite sort of, as I say, prickly carbonation, and it's a very sort of light, thin beer, but there's loads of flavour in it. It's not bad, actually. I mean, I'm going to be more biased with this one because I do love those hops, and I'm right in the mood for these sort of hops. And it's been a nice sunny day today, and it's refreshing, and a double IPA, it's refreshing. I suppose why is it a double IPA at 7%? Where's the sort of normal characteristics of a double IPA? I mean, I don't know. That's the mystery. I mean, if you let me know in the comments what you think. A double IPA at 7% is a very rare thing, you know. So, you know, it's almost as rare as me drinking a stout on this channel. But I think I've drank enough of this one, so let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Showtime. It's a double New Zealand IPA, coming in at just 7% though, with full of all those New Zealand hops, Nelson, Riwaka and Mouteka. Pretty great, really great hops there. So firstly, aroma. Well, you know, again, you expect with a double IPA a nice sort of big hit of aroma. You've got all those New Zealand hops, and you get all the characteristics: gooseberry and grape and melon and lime. There's also a sort of quite a big in the aroma, sort of oniony, savoury, sort of a spring onion sort of a note, which I think is more common. It's common with doubles more, and it is certainly common more with New Zealand hops. You're definitely getting that a little whiff of almost grassiness. You know, it's got that sort of grassy, savoury, spring onion sort of aroma to it. It's not off-putting though. It's quite, you know, it makes you want to drink it because it's quite bright and zesty. So I'm giving it 14 for aroma. Appearance, well, for a double IPA, I think it's, you know, it's obviously hazy, still 7%, not much head to speak of, and it's quite a frothy sort of head. It's not compacted, and I suppose that's because it's quite a thin body. It looks okay, but I'm only going to give it 7 for appearance. Flavour-wise, well, like the aromas, you're getting all the sort of New Zealand goodnesses of gooseberry, melon, grape, real zesty lime. There's a little bit of grassiness, but not as much as the aroma. It's just very sort of green in terms of its fruit. You just know that the sort of fruits are very sort of juicy, zesty sort of fruits. You know, you've got a bit of guava in there. You've got a bit of lychee in there. All those sort of very zesty green fruits, kiwi fruits. You know, I'm reading off a lot of fruits that I can think of that are green. So, but you know, there's definitely all of that in there. Obviously, with the Mouteka, you get a lot of lime in there as well. That's quite a big, strong flavour. So grape and gooseberry up front, and then more of those all kinds of other green sort of flavours in there. Melons in there as well. And then you're getting some of the real zesty lime, and you're getting a little bit of that sort of grassiness on the back end. There's not much else. Maybe a hint of grapefruit, lemon, probably, but not. There's nothing sort of tropical. There's no sort of your mangoes, your pineapples and stuff like that, passion fruit. There's none of that. There's no orange sort of in here at all. It's very much those sort of light green, very kiwi characteristics, kiwi as in New Zealand characteristic sort of flavours. It's pretty good in terms of its flavour. There's certainly quite strong flavours there, but the mouthfeel is a little bit disappointed. It's almost got a prickly, almost just slightly too fizzy in terms of its carb. It's quite thin. It needs more body. I think if it had more body, it'd be a really great beer. Just a bit more oats in the mix, a bit more wheat. Then I think you'd get a bit nicer body, and it'd be smoother and creamy, and it would be a really stunning beer. But it's still, you know, the flavour's there, and obviously 7%. You know, it glides down pretty well. It almost drinks, even though it's a double IPA, it almost doesn't even drink as strong as an IPA. But the flavours are really sort of strong and pungent, which you want from a double IPA. So I think that's really good. I'm going to 33 for flavour. I think, as you say, if the body was better, it probably could be up in the sort of, you'd be in the sort of mid to high 30s sort of thing. Value for money. Well, you know, when you see a double IPA on the shelf, and you know, even in a bottle shop, you're expecting to pay 6, £7 almost for it. Certainly more than £5. This was £4.10. That's pretty cheap for a double, even it's only 7%. I mean, it's cheap for an IPA. So I think value for money, and it's got all those great hops in it. I was going to give it 9, but I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 for value, because I think a double IPA at £4.10 with all that flavour in it, I think it's worthy of a 10 out of 10. So 10 for value. And my overall experience, it's a really good beer. It's got, if you like New Zealand hops, I think you'll really like it. You'll be a bit disappointed in the fact that it's very light and quite thin in terms of its body, but it makes it easier to drink. And it almost gives a bit more of a refreshment to the beer. You know, it's weird when you say it's a double IPA, but it's very refreshing. Those two don't, it's an oxymoron really, you know, you don't expect that. But this, you know, as I said before, it's similar to that North Brewing one, which I called something, I'm sure it's something Lens in it, available in Tesco. It's a double IPA, 8% odd, and that was quite light in its body and quite thin, and it certainly didn't feel like a double IPA. This is very similar to that. I'm giving it 14 because, well, I love New Zealand hops. I'm really a massive fan of them, and I can't get enough of them. And I think this is certainly got all those flavours. The body was better. That score would have gone up as well. But we topped the scores up. We still get a very recommended 78 out of 100. So it's like the top end of the recommendation, nearly highly recommended. Again, if it had a bit more oats in the brew of this, I mean, it probably would make it more expensive, but £4.10, that's pretty cheap for a double IPA. If you like Kiwi hops, if you like all those, you know, the Riwaka and the Nelson and the Mouteka, and you like something with a lot of flavour, a lot of all of those strong flavours in there, but you want something that's not going to sort of blow your head off, then this is a really great beer. It's very, very easy to drink. It's a sort of beer that I'd think, oh, I could really go for that in draft. And in fact, you know, I plan to be in Bristol in June this year, and I'm hoping that maybe I'll track down some of these and have one on and see if I can get something like this on draft. That'd be really good, because I think, you know, it might make it feel a little bit smoother in terms of its body. But 78 out of 100, it's a cracking score. They make good beers, Bristol. I mean, they're for me a little inconsistent. There's certainly good value for money. I don't think any of their beers have been expensive, but this one, £4.10 for a double, I think it's a really good price. So, hope you've enjoyed this. Obviously, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. You know, it really helps the channel. More thumbs up I get, the algorithms work. It gets higher up in the thing. More people see it, and hopefully more people will like it and follow me and all the rest of it. And I hope you're enjoying. You know, I'm recording this over Easter weekend, so by the time this goes out, it's probably beyond Easter weekend, but I hope you've enjoyed it, because it's been pretty good weather, and you know, summer's on its way. So if nothing else, there'll be certainly more beer drinking, because I think, you know, that's the best time to drink beer. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I've said that at least 4 times. So until the next one, I'll say it one more time. If I not say it once, I'll say it 100 times. Keep on rocking.